Welcome to the LCG Production Podcast. I'd like to welcome Solarr on the podcast. How's it going?
Hey, thank you so much for having me on here. It is an amazing day today, and it is so much more amazing for being able to come out here and spread a little wisdom and as well as maybe learn a few things and have a great time. So yeah, my name's Solarr. Y'all want to check me out? They Love Solarr on IG. Solarr is the name for all platforms. So if you're on Spotify or Apple Music, it's SOLARR. You can find me anywhere. But yeah, thank you so much, man, for having me on here. It's an amazing experience. I'm glad to be on my
Yeah,
first
yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
No worries. Like we've known each other for a while, and we've not done a podcast yet, so it's good to get on. But anyway, to just
Oh,
start off with, what's your sort of story like with music? Like, how have you ended up where you are now?
wow. So it's kind of long, but I'll try and summarize it. So pretty much I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida. So really down south. And I was not the best kid, to be honest. I was involved in a lot of reckless behaviors, but that ended up in my mom moving me across the country to California literally overnight. Like I went to bed in Florida, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, she said, "We're going to the airport." And we took off, and that was that. And I came to California with only a charger, headphones, and a jacket. That was it. All of my stuff in my room was still there when I went back to go grab it a year later. So after I moved to California, I didn't know anybody here. We didn't know anything. Like it was just, all right, this is where we're
Hmm.
living at
Hmm.
now. And as time went by, we were there for a couple months, and the Airbnb we were staying at, the people were just super weird, and
Hmm.
they would just pretty much invade my privacy almost every day. So I had to exclude myself from that situation, and they pretty much kicked me out. And then from there on, I moved back to Florida, but I didn't move back to my home city. I moved in with my sister who lives in Orlando, which is like pretty big city in Florida. I'm sure a lot of people know about it. It's where Disney World and stuff is. But I lived there for like 5 months, and there's where I really like, because I've always made music. I had a really good best friend who was super good at music, and I always got inspired because I've always been involved in music, but I never got incorporated into the writing and recording and being an actual artist myself. So I took a lot of notes, just observing him and observing all of my other musically and talented friends. And then from there on, I was just pretty much figuring out like what kind of music I wanted to do because I really didn't know because there was so much. And being raised in Florida is mainly like trap, like hard trap stuff
Hmm.
or like some really high pitched singing stuff. So there's no in between. There's no really melodic or alternative or country, or there is a little country actually, but there's none of those alternative genres that are popularized around the rest of the world and around the rest of the United States. So it was a really hard time for me to figure out what kind of sound I was trying to achieve. But what really helped is my sister's boyfriend had a home studio. And I'm going to just say it out now. Sorry if he ever sees this, but he didn't know how to engineer, but that wasn't his fault. He never was involved in that kind of music genre. So I had pretty much made my voice the instruments for my songs. And you can hear that in my early songs. But as time went on there, I started recording and writing a bunch. I really got into the dark alternative trap sound and the really pure rock shit, but I didn't like how the new age rock shit sounded. I just think it sounds too soft. And personally, I want to like fucking get down and just feel it in my soul. Like if a song does not hit my soul, I honestly won't have any kind of feelings towards it. It's not something that I just really care for. I want to, because all music has a purpose. There's not one song in this industry, in this world, that people are engineering with their own minds, their own feelings, their own emotions, that does not have a purpose. So it really, you have to engineer what you want to portray in your song and what you want the audience to feel while they're putting that song into their ears, while they're feeding that to themselves? Do you want it to be a negative impact, or do you want it to be something that uplifts them, inspires them, wants them to get up and work out, or get up and go get a job or some whatever shit? But so after living in Orlando, I got kicked out of there as well. And then I got scooped back up and came back to the same place in California where I originally went to the first time. And coming back though, I had all of this knowledge that I obtained while working steadily on my music craft at my sister's house. So I came here a little more knowledge, and I took that into consideration, and I started working even harder. I started practicing with my voice. I started listening to older songs and listening to the key details in their voices with how they shift or go upbeat or down or change their octaves or just do all of this fancy stuff that not a lot of people do because they don't really take the time to study the past to create a better future. Same thing incorporates into day-to-day life. You want to study the past so shit doesn't happen again, but you can also reinvent that and make it into something way better. So I like to study all of the old rock artists, all of country artists. I've honestly like grown up around every different culture, being that my mom is Hispanic and my dad is European. I've been to both different continents and studied and observed those people as well because I've lived there. And then as well as living in the United States, seeing how people act here and learning all of the different cultures, it humbled me to see people as humans instead of as different. And that really gave me a huge empowerment in my music because it made me be able to connect or understand how to connect to all the other people. That one person might listen to some rock shit, another person might be like, bro, turn that fucking shit off. Or I don't know if I'm loud cuss out here. Turn that
Yeah,
crap
yeah.
off.
You say whatever you want.
Yeah, okay. But so then when I moved back, I didn't know anybody, but I met my now girlfriend of like almost a year and a half now.
Congrats.
And yeah, thank you. And we met in like January, and I moved back here in like November, or not November, but June. June or March, somewhere around there. But then when I met her, I didn't know anybody, but she introduced me to a couple of her friends. And then she also told me about her childhood best friend, her neighbor, which does music now. His name is OZ Goliath. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was her childhood best friend neighbor. And I guess they knew each other, but I didn't know him. And so super talented guy. And they've known each other since they were young. And I had a friend back in Florida who wasn't involved in music, but he moved to San Francisco because things just weren't working out in Florida for him. And he ended up being homeless in San Francisco for like 4 years. So he really got to understand and know the underground scene of both music and other categories. But he introduced me to this guy named Germ Deezy, which is this super amazing underground artist in Sacramento who is starting a huge movement and just really like empowering the youth and inspiring a lot of artists to pursue into a farther category than just being local. That they inspire them to want to go to the top, want to be in the big leagues. And I got introduced to him like a year ago, and he invited me out to come do a show out in Sacramento. And this was my first time like ever being involved in something that I had to perform my music for an audience, but let alone I did practice in my room for like months.
Mm,
I had my speaker right in front of me in a big ass window, and I would just imagine the window was a giant
yeah,
audience. And I would just dance and sing to the window, bro, at like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was great.
yeah.
But everything that I practiced happened at the show. And my first show was amazing. I had everybody literally sit the fuck down in the whole fucking, because it was originally going to be a venue, but it got shut down. So they had to do it in a backyard. but the backyard was packed to the brim. And I had everybody in that motherfucker get down and then jump back up when the beat came on, and then had their lights waving up. And this was my first show, so like I didn't fucking think I could do that. But then when I actually did it, it was like, all right, why do I have to be afraid of people? Like, why does my brain think that these people are out to get me or think badly about me, when in reality they all just want to vibe the same like me? So why don't I give them the vibe that they need and that I think that they would want, and then just put on a show, give the entertainment? Because it's too fucking, I honestly hate it when I go to a show and the artist is just like on stage and just like, yeah, just
Mm.
like sitting there, no action. It's just like, come on, man, bring the energy, because we want you to have the energy so we can get the energy, vice versa. So then after that show, I met my manager that night, and I also met OZ Goliath, and she hadn't even introduced me to them. I met them on my own. Just that took off. We all started talking, and they pretty much invited me to the label, which is called For the People. And we are starting a label out here for artists that really want to pursue a, I don't even know how to explain it, so to say, in broad terms, but right now it's small goals, because everything is one step at a time. You can't just go from being in the dirt to a freaking diamond castle. You gotta mine your way, get to coal. I'm using Minecraft references, but you get the point.
Yeah.
But after, yeah, after I met them and started getting connected with them, I got to be in actual studios and use professional microphones, get professional mixing done. But it wasn't sufficient for me, so I took it upon myself to learn it in my bedroom. And over this last year, I think I've solidified a pretty solid mix from learning absolutely nothing. And I really just like to observe people. I'm a huge observer. I watch every little action, every little word people say. I can read people literally faster than books, because I read books slow. So I can read them pretty fast. And it just gives me a huge advantage into knowing who to share my goal or my dreams with, like who I want to invite or also tell them about, because not everybody has the right intentions. A lot of people can put up a front for a first encounter, and I can usually detect that bullshit within the first encounter. So it just kind of gives me a steady lane of solidarity and also good people that I know are going to benefit me, and I will benefit them just as much, because it's not about being the fucking gold star, the what's the fucking word for like the dog? I don't know. Just like
Right.
being the main person.
Yeah.
And it's about everybody. It's about everybody feeling that same accomplishment, because in reality, none of you would even be there if y'all weren't all there for each other. So might as well just empower each other and get there in one piece, and in a good term than a bad way.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And then
want to, sorry to cut you off there. Something I
yeah,
really want to cover is like, you are a talented artist. Like, and
yeah,
I'm not saying that because like there's a lot of rappers, especially a lot of rappers on Instagram that I see, and like they've been rapping for years, like a very long time, and they're like physically, like their ability is just not good enough. So like say you were to show 1 million people their music, I don't believe that would be enough to take it off. And there's a price you can pay to show 1 million people your music.
yeah, of course.
Why have you been able to get good?
Oh, what was the question?
Why have you been able to get good at music? Like for people
Why?
listening, like how,
Yeah.
like sum it up, how have you been able to get there?
Honestly, the main thing is patience. Like, you have to find a patience within yourself to know that it's not going to be a short-term thing where you're just going to blow up overnight. Like, that is a possibility, but that is the slimmest chance to nothing. that you could possibly do. Like you have to have that perfect song. And for an artist that's just starting out, it's not really going to happen, because as you get farther into the industry, you start observing all the other kind of artists that are out there, all the underground and as well as other bigger artists that you've never even heard of. And their music is absolutely fucking insane. So it puts you in competition with them, but it should be a healthy competition. It shouldn't be a competition where you feel like you have to do some evil or fucked up shit to get to that place. Like patience is where it starts at. Once you learn that it's going to be a process and that you can handle the process, because honestly, I'm gonna be straight up, you go through every single emotion that you could possibly think of. Being an artist, you will feel everything. And that is something that weak people like just can't take. It's honestly not for everybody. Some people just can't handle it. And it's not also just about the music. You have to understand the business side of it as well, because the music is just one part. You can have a good ass song, but if you don't know how to market that shit, it ain't gonna go nowhere. It's gonna sit in your computer for years, maybe your life. And so you really have to take the time before you even start wanting to push out the music to invest in yourself and to study both the music terms of the business industry and the business side of the business industry, because it is all business. The music is just what they use to spread their name around the world. So you really have to humble yourself, have the patience. You have to take the time to study and know what you're talking about, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to come to you with the most amazing sounding offers. But if you don't know that that can't really happen, because like, you know, if somebody's a low level freaking A&R or something and they're offering you $500,000, but you don't even know what their label name is and all of this stuff, and you're clueless. So you're just looking at the materialistic side of it, and you're like, ooh, wow, $500,000 right now. I'm like 16. Oh my gosh, that's insane. But no, you can't. You have to be like, all right, well, let me talk to you. Let me see the contract. Let me see your terms. Let me see what I am losing as an artist. What are the percentages of the song that I own, that you own, that everything? And it's just a lot that you have to understand and know before you even start wanting to market yourself and putting yourself out there. So I say first, that's the first step. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like no, 100% agree with you. Like if someone's coming up to offer you 500K, like it's because you're worth 500K in their eyes. So
Yeah.
understand that and know
Yeah,
that you could
exactly. And you
potentially be
have to
worth more
believe
than
that
that.
you're worth way more than 500K, bro, because all of us are worth more than 500K. Like, not all of us. I can't speak for everybody, but I know I'm damn well worth more than 500K, even right now. But in the
Yeah,
future, that's just what the future holds. It's going to be exciting to see how everything ends up, because everything is really moving forward really smoothly and really well right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. What are some other things to look out for then that people can offer you for artists listening?
Um, Another thing you can look out for is, of course, people coming at you with offers without any kind of recognition or any kind of proof that they are a real authority member for a label. And you also want to watch out for, honestly, people in your circle as well. If there's any kind of spiteful emotions or any kind of jealousy factors in your group, in the long run, it's not going to end up well at all. It's not even going to work out. Like, unless that person changes the way that they think and the way that they act towards people, which is possible, but it's very hard unless you're fucking just a genuinely good person. But a lot of people nowadays are influenced by social media, and that just has changed the way that the youth thinks nowadays. The way TikTok has completely flooded the generation has completely twisted people's minds in the way of social engagement. People don't know how to communicate in person anymore or even hold a solid conversation. So you really want to watch out for the people that are in your area, in your circle, or the people that are even offering to help you get there, because if they have any kind of jealous or spite towards you, they're only going to want what's best for you if it benefits them even more. So you really have to just cut that off as soon as possible, because you want to have the most solid, loving, humble people around you that are not selfish, that they care about you just as much as they care about themselves, and that you are a priority just as much as they are. And I think that's another huge thing that you really have to look out for, honestly, because personally, I've had that in groups, and it ruins everything. It makes everybody feel bad. It makes people feel pressured and feel pity and feel guilty. And like I said, you go through all the emotions depending on who you surround yourself with. So surrounding yourself with the best people, with the best crowd, is definitely another thing that you have to look out for in terms of a new person coming into the music industry.
Yeah, I fucking agree with that. So for,
Yeah.
like for those people, like you say, cut them out. That's quite a hard thing to do. How do you go about cutting someone out of your life like that?
And that honestly is the hardest decision. But that's where I said that the music industry is not for the weak. You really have to be so strong and firm in yourself and believe in yourself to the largest extent that you have to not give a fuck about people leaving your circle, even if they've been friends with you for 10, 15 years, because now your life isn't a regular civilian life. You are a celebrity, you are an artist, you have a persona and image to uphold. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that are trying to break that down or are trying to influence any kind of bad image on you, then you have to let go of them. There's no other option than to. And you have to just find that humbleness in yourself that, you know what, I love this person as a person, but I love you so much that I have to let you go in order for me to proceed to the next stage and to where I need to be so I can help other people. Because one person being out is better than nothing even happening at all. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And just sort of rounding up to the end, what's one mistake that you see artists making like right now that like you absolutely hate?
um honestly, originality. Like, I notice it a lot, but I also notice not a lot of it at all. Like, a lot of these underground artists, a lot of these individual artists are getting too comfortable being inspired by other people that they're losing the creativity factor in themselves, to where they believe that they need an inspiration from another person instead of finding the inspiration within themselves and bringing it out. And I just see a lot of people doing that, and it's made me push back a little bit. That's why I haven't honestly been as engaging on social media, because right now I'm trying to build a completely different content based system that nobody in my local underground scene is doing, because I want to stand out. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. And I just see that a lot of people are losing it. And I think it was because of the pandemic, people got too used to being online. Like I said, social media influenced the world in a huge way. The fastest thing that's ever happened. Like, before TikTok, can you even remember what life was like? It was honestly pretty fucking good in my life, so to say. But after people had all of these different communities and different things to watch, and it's just feeding your freaking serotonin receptors every millisecond, you're just going, ooh, 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 ooh. You start losing yourself. You start becoming the people that you see instead of wanting to be the person that you are and shining out the people that are already here and in that place. So I just really feel like people need to take a step back and start understanding themselves a lot more, because that's what I've been doing. And it's really humbled me and helped me to think differently about the music industry and about my music in general, and the purpose of what I want to do and how I want people to understand my story and understand my music when they listen to it. So that's just really what I think is lacking, but what also could be hugely improved on.
Yeah, I agree with you again. So I guess where should everyone find you? Have you got any new like songs or anything that you'd love people to know about?
So yeah, I just dropped a new song like a month ago, I think, and it's called Once Again. It's on all platforms. I might record a music video for it. I don't know. We'll see in the future. But if you want to find my platforms, the main thing to do is go to my Instagram, because then I have a song whip link that has all the links for all the platforms that you could possibly listen to. So if you want to go find me on Instagram, it is TheyluvSola, 3 R's. So RRR. And that's it. They love Solarr. It has been a pleasure, LCG. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm glad I could let the audience know a little bit of sauce, and that I could also learn a little bit of stuff as well. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no problem.